Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're in the surf capital of the Caribbean, Rincon, Puerto Rico. And today what we have for you are the don'ts of visiting Rincon. And the thing is, this is kind of a small town, but it's a place that a lot of tourists come to. So I thought it was a good idea to give you an idea of some of these do's and don'ts of Rincon. And I think the first thing you need to realize is don't be surprised if you hear a lot of English when you do come here to Rincon, because over the last 5 to 10 years, Rincon has really become a hub for mainlanders moving from the mainland US to Puerto Rico. And you'll see that in the construction with a bunch of new apartment buildings here, English all over the place. I mean, there's some Spanish still, don't worry, you can practice a little, but just be ready for a lot of English and a lot of mainland America when you are here in Rincon. Not in terms of the beauty here, but in terms of the people that are here. So I wanted to give you a heads up for that. Now, another thing I think you should do is if you've ever wanted to learn to surf, hey, don't skip out on your chance to surf. Because like I said, this is the capital of Caribbean surf. And for someone, even a big person like me, you can actually learn how to surf when you're here. So don't be afraid to sign up for a class or get a board or rent a board and go out. Now, there are some places you want to be careful, but do ask to say, hey, where would be some good places for your level of surf? Or just take a class and they'll get you to the right place. Because I know two of the beaches that come up a lot for surfing are Dome's Beach and Maria's Beach. So those are two things you can kind of look at. Now, the next don't I have for you is don't forget to pick up your supplies at the grocery store, okay? Now, there's lots of restaurants here. There's lots of bars you can do, but you know, the prices can kind of add up. So by kind of stocking up at one of the grocery stores, there's one on the main road, there's one if you're driving in on the highway from San Juan, do pick up those supplies to kind of save some money when you're here, because that's another thing I need to mention is don't think coming to Rincon is going to be a cheap visit. I know it's a surfer capital, so you think surf place, oh, it's going to be cheap. Well, there are some cheap options, but I would come in thinking I'm going to be spending, you know, normal city US prices and you'll be fine, but don't think this is going to be one of those, oh, I'll pay $1 and get a hostel kind of places. That is not how it is here in Rincon, believe me. But one of the things you can do to kind of save money when you're here is don't skip out at eating in one of the kioscos, one of the little stands you'll see. I mean, they have them from sliders and hamburgers and stuff to seafood, and sometimes those places do have better prices than restaurants, but don't feel weird going, should I be eating at one of these stands? Yes, you should. The food is fantastic there, okay? So don't worry about it. You'll see little food trucks around too. You can enjoy those. And when you're going around, also we have to think about the driving when you're here. And one thing I would say is don't forget to look out for the tourists when you are here, because I've seen so many tourists just walk out in the middle of the road, la la la. Thursdays on the little square here, they have their art walk. And so there's a lot of little stands out there. You can go get your souvenirs if you want. It's just kind of a nice place to kind of hang out. But the thing is, tourists just like walk out in the middle of the street and you're like, whoa. So you really need to pay attention when you're driving here, especially since there's so many mainlanders that are here that don't understand the kind of Puerto Rican way to drive. So it can be a bit frustrating. So do be aware of that. And I think another thing with the driving here is if you're going to be renting a house, don't be surprised if your driveway to the house is like a 60-degree angle. Yeah. You want to be careful if you're walking down those or walking up those, but with your cars, also be aware of that because it's built on hills, okay? So you're going to have some really steep things, especially if you get in you rent a house that's not near, like right on the beach, but a little bit more in the hills. So just be aware of that because sometimes it can be a little hair raising when you're going up, especially if there's a lot of rain happening. So just be aware. Now I'm here at the Balneario de Rincon, so like a public beach here in Rincon, like the main area is right down there. And you can go to the beach here, it's a nice little beach. But one thing I gotta say about the beaches here in Rincon, there's a ton of them. So don't feel you have to stay at a beach you don't like. If you don't like the people that are at the beach, you don't like the scene at that beach, there's another beach to go to, whether you're going to Domes, whether you're going to the Sandy Beach, Maria's Beach, I should say. If you wanna go by the lighthouse, I mean, there's tons and tons of beaches around here. If you have your own car, I mean, literally, the entire way to San Juan, just turn off and go up to the beach. There's beautiful beaches. So don't worry if you don't find one that's right for you. You can just go to the next one, okay? But also I gotta say is the beaches here in town are relatively nice. So if you don't want to drive, you don't have to. So be aware of that. But if you are coming, don't forget your beach accoutrements, right? Your sunblock, your hat, your beach toys, your bug spray, because they do sell it all over town. You can pick up anything you want, but the prices are a little high. But honestly, like I've seen a lot of like purple tourists. Like in San Juan, I saw red and pink. In Rincon, I've seen red, pink, and purple. So do be aware of that, because whether you're here on the beach or you're going trying to find the whales, or you're going snorkeling, or you're just doing some hikes, that sun will get you, okay? So be prepared for that. But one thing I think you should definitely do when you are at one of the beaches, especially just here at the public beaches in Rincon, in the evening time, don't miss the sunsets. I mean, depending on the time of the year, just setting right over there, it is just one of the most beautiful sunsets you can see. I mean, I was here last night, even with the clouds there, it was still like, wow, that's gorgeous, okay? So that's one of the really nice things here, is taking in those sunsets, whether you're at one of the bars or restaurants that are right on the water or just laying out on the beach. It is something that you'll enjoy. And if you're looking for kind of a more historic building, you actually have the lighthouse down the way, the Faro, F-A-R-O. You'll see it on some of the signs. You can go down to the lighthouse. I mean, Jocelyn was here a few years ago. They rode horses by there. You can go hiking by there. There's a park around the lighthouse. You can do picnics and go eat there. And that's one of the things that's really nice, is they have this developed so you can enjoy it as a tourist, and the photo ops from the lighthouse really are beautiful. So why not check that out? Also, what's cool is sometimes in certain parts of the year, if you're looking out, you might actually see some humpback whales going by. It does happen. Now, if you're here in Rincon in the evening, I want to warn you, don't think that that's the red light district. See, what you'll see is at a time in the evening, the street lights near the beach turn red. Not white street lights, but red street lights. And don't think that's like a warning or some kind of like, I'm in the wrong part of town. No. They're doing that so the sea turtles don't walk into town or crawl into town. It's so those sea turtles go out into the water here. And also, don't mess with the sea turtles if you see them. Don't dig them up. Don't be like, oh, I'll help you, little sea turtle. Let them do their thing, okay? Because this is one of the places where they're born. So just be ready for that. Now, another thing I think is one thing you might want to know, because if you're driving to some of the beaches, I'm going to say this. Don't think that building is an active nuclear power plant. So the bonus nuclear power plant that's here, where the Domes Beach is, it used to be a functioning nuclear power plant, but it's not now. Now it's an occasionally open technology museum. But, when you can get in, it's nice to check out. A little small museum. But just know you'll see that and go, huh? Do I want to go in the water here? Yes, you'll be fine. It's all covered up. You're fine. So don't think it's active and you're going to start glowing after you've been there. Now, I know when you come to a beach location like this, you think, oh, we're just going to go to the beach and relax. Well, another don't I have for you is don't forget about the non-beach water activities you can do when you're here. Yeah, you can rent out a boat and go deep sea fishing. You can go snorkeling. You can go diving. Certain times of year, yes, you can see the whales when you're out there. So there's a lot of water activity to do here. I mean, if you go about an hour and a half south of here, you actually have one of the bioluminescent bays you can go to, and you can kayak in the bioluminescence bay or take a boat trip. Or one of the cool ones is you can actually swim in it. But I will tell you, if you're coming on a weekend, you need to make sure you book those way ahead. Otherwise, you might not get a spot in one of the tours, so do be aware of it. Also, with those bioluminescent bays that it's about an hour and a half away, if it's a full moon, it's not going to be as big as if it's a new moon, so just be aware of that, because it's not cheap to do those. Then if we look at accommodation as a traveler, I think it's important to know what to expect when you're here. And I'm going to say is, don't expect like blow your mind accommodation, but don't expect not to find accommodation, because so many tourists have come here, so many have invested here. You have a lot of apartment buildings that are here that you can stay in, and they're rental apartment buildings. So yeah, it's got a few things that you'll find at Hobby Lobby that have been put in there and stuff. So just know it's going to be a little sparse, but it'll be functional. And there are a lot of options here. If you want to get a house, if you want to get an apartment, there's hotels you can go to, and all of them are pretty close that you pretty much can walk to the beach, the city beaches, which is really nice, okay? And then I think also, don't worry if you're coming from San Juan. It's about a 2.5 hour drive from San Juan from here. You can actually hire a car at the airport in San Juan that will bring you here, and you can schedule a return. But I would want to get that kind of set up before you came. But yeah, rental cars aren't a problem here. But it is a nice little place to be. It is very much a tourist place to visit, whether you're here for the surfing, whether you're here to go see the lighthouse, to enjoy the food. Because yes, you have a lot of Puerto Rican food when you're here. You'll still get your mofongo. You'll still get your lechon. You'll have that. And on the weekends, if you see one of those lechon kiosks, definitely grab some lechon by the pound, of course. Anyway, I wish you all the best. I'll say bye from here in Rincon.